So we've heard a little bit about how Roger came and started off as kind of a part-time gig. We heard about how Frank, had a recruiter, and he mentioned to me, by the way, prior when we were having a pre-call, the value of having a good recruiter to kind of tease out your first-time opportunities for you, it being very worthwhile. Now, Ivana's path is a little bit different than these two as well. So, Ivana, tell us a little bit about your winding path to become the CEO of Vigil.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Yes, quite a different path. I'm actually a Ph.D., J.D. trained. And during my my PhD, I realized that what I really wanted to do is figure out a way to translate the science into medicine. And I really felt that for that, I needed to be part of the biotech ecosystem, but I chose a different route. I didn't go right into this. I actually went and did a patent law degree. And so I actually came into the industry as a patent attorney because one of my clients that I was working with actually asked me to come in. That was TKT. I'm definitely dating myself now. This is many years ago. It was a rare disease company and a gene therapy company, actually, that was ultimately acquired by Shire. But when they asked me to join them, I jumped right away because I really felt that that was my opportunity to get closer to that mission of bringing medicines to patients. And I might say I've never regretted that decision. And so from there, I actually moved to another company called Dyax, where I had the privilege to work with what people call the grandfather of the rare disease space, and it's Henry Blair. The company was called Dyax. I actually had the privilege there to see a drug from the lab all the way to the market, and had many different roles, which is actually a beauty of being in a small company. You get an opportunity to experience a lot of different things if you want to. And so during my tenure at Dyax, which was 12 years, I started as a VP of intellectual property, and ultimately my last role was a chief operating officer responsible for commercialization of the first product. So, I thank Henry and some others of my mentors for that opportunity to go into spaces which, you would say, so how does the IP attorney become, head of commercial organization? So ability to learn, to be, opportunities to see many different things. And, Dyax certainly didn't have an easy path to approval, lots of ups and downs, 2 downsizings actually during that period. So the things that Frank was saying really resonate with me, because what kept us going was our why, which was helping these patients with hereditary angioedema. And as I said, the highlight of my career was having those patients come and hug us and tell us we changed their lives. That was my career at Dyax. And there I really knew that ultimately I did want to do something myself, build something from scratch, something that I was really passionate about. And neuroscience is really an area that's a passion of mine. I think that there is so much more that we need to do and explore, but also I just have a personal history of Alzheimer's in the family, so this is certainly an area that I was interested in. However, before I got there, I decided that in order to be a CEO of a company, I should really experience the other side as well, because I obviously until then spent my career in very small rare disease companies. So I actually went in a completely opposite direction and joined Jeremy Levin when he was the CEO of Teva, which was at that time a company of 56,000 people, to run his global business development on the specialty side and try to help move the Titanic in a different direction. And I spent several years at Teva, did a number of transactions for them. And from Teva, I went to a little bit smaller company called Ipsen, again, trying to help Ipsen and David Meek build their pipeline through external innovation. And through that time, I felt like I was moving away from what I was really passionate about. And that was, seeing that those medicines get to patients. I felt that I was getting too removed. And so when COVID hit and I had the opportunity to really think about what it is that really I'm passionate about and what I want to do is, I really want to kind of go back to my Diax days and really build something from scratch and really get that drug to patients in need. And so I actually reached out to Atlas because a lot of companies started talking to them, and had the privilege of interacting with Bruce Booth from Atlas, who brought an opportunity to my attention, which kind of checked all the boxes for me, which was in the neurospace, great assets, and a really opportunity to move very quickly into the clinic. And for me, it's all about the people. Ultimately, I think after you've been in the industry as long as I've been in the industry now for almost a quarter of a century. It is all about the people that you put around the assets and the science. And I knew that with Atlas, I had a great partner to really enable me to build the company from scratch. And that's how I got here. So 11 months ago, in the middle of COVID, we started Vigil.
Well, and that's what I wanted to ask as a quick follow-up, was kind of like, all right, so bullet for us some of the things that you had to deal with as you take this over during COVID, because you had to get an asset, right, from Amgen. Yep. You had a whole bunch of things to do.
That's right. Look, I think that we pivoted very quickly, right, from all being together and all being able to engage to, how do we do this in a virtual environment. And yes, we were in the middle of actually in licensing these assets from Amgen when COVID happened. And, in a certain way, we all became more available, let's put it that way. You were not traveling all over the country to have these meetings. So in a certain way, it became more efficient to get the agreement done. The challenge was really, once you got it, how do you now build a company in this kind of environment? Because as I mentioned to you, I strongly believe that it's all about the people. So how do you bring the high quality people in this kind of environment? How do you hire them on Zoom? And so what I really did is I really reached out into my network and really tried to bring people based on, the why. Because I think we can speak all day about what and how, but it's the why that drives all of us. And so being able to articulate that vision that we really want to change the world for these patients that suffer from rare neurodegenerative diseases, and that we had some really fantastic assets, thanks to Amgen, to really provide us a stepping stone, and the fact that we could move, very quickly. We're actually going to be in the clinic before the end of the year. I think resonated with a lot of people. And so we were able to build, we're 25 strong now, 11 months into this, and very proud to say with no help from recruiters. So that was certainly great. But the most important thing in our ability to execute is transparency and constant communication, and, making sure that everybody knew what we were doing, why we were doing. I'd always say, let's know what the bus looks like at all times, and make sure that everybody's aligned and wants to be on that bus. So it took, I think, the extra level. And then, of course, being creative about the challenges. We were in the middle of manufacturing. We had a lot of things that we were doing virtually through CROs. Everybody was having delays. Procuring materials was even challenging. So really thinking outside of the box and being creative about how you solve for those small problems that you never thought you would have to solve, which is, inavailability of raw materials for manufacturing, for example. So a lot of creativity, a lot of communication, a lot of passion for what we're doing, I think got us to where we are today, 11 months in. And obviously in that whole process, I forgot to mention, we also raised the $50 million Series A round, which again, I think was a much more efficient process by the fact that, you could have a lot of meetings in the same day and cover a lot of ground in a very short period of time.
Yeah. No, I've heard, we've talked a lot about that this past year about, how COVID forever changed the whole venture capital fundraising program.